This is Support is Sexy, episode 79. Don't get caught up in the fast lane. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here because it just would not be the same without you. So today I wanted to share with you, I am a podcast fanatic. I listen to them all the time. I have a long list of favorites. As you can imagine, I love podcasts. That's why I do one, but I fell in love with them before I started doing one. So I listen to them some days, all day for hours, talk about them with friends, between working and, making breakfast or making lunch or going for a run or going for a walk. There's just a long list of podcasts that I enjoy. So the past week, I've noticed that Jonathan Fields, the author and the founder of the Good Life Project, has been on several of my favorite podcasts. And the other day I was walking and doing an errand because, as I've talked about, I'm getting ready to move, so many errands to run. So I was walking somewhere here in Brooklyn doing an errand, and I listened to Jonathan's interview on Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast, which is great, a favorite. Definitely check it out. One of the things that Jonathan talked about, and he did this across all of the interviews, obviously, because his message is the same across everything. But in the Smart Passive Income interview, they had a discussion about this idea that we have, especially I think as entrepreneurs, that we have to live life in the fast lane. Have you been guilty of that? Have you ever found yourself sort of getting caught up in this idea of being in the fast lane? I know I have moments like that where everything feels urgent, like it has to be done right now. If it's not done right now, it's just never going to get done, or it's not going to work if I don't do it right now. I know I had that idea when I initially launched my first business with chicrebellion.tv. It was to be first in the market. And there are, of course, some benefits to that. But sometimes we're just being hasty for the sake of being hasty, or being urgent for the sake of being urgent, when there's really no need to be, so to speak, caught up in that fast lane. So I wanted to share this with you all as a reminder not to get caught up in the fast lane, thinking that you're being busy or productive just because you're moving quickly, just because you're in a hurry, just because you're quote unquote busy, when really your busy might just be a long day of appointments that aren't really moving you forward. One of the things that Jonathan talked about in his interviews, and that I have really adopted, I would say in the past year, but definitely in the past 6 months, is this idea that it's okay to say no to things being certain appointments or meetings or events. Now, of course, I show up whenever I'm supporting someone. It really means that I support the person when I come out and go to an event. Not that that makes me special for being there, but just this idea that it's okay to say no and really be focused on the things that you really want to focus on the things you really want to move forward, on how you spend your time, and that your time isn't dictated by all of the events and busy work or busy appointments that you fill your day with. So being empowered to say no in whatever kind way that you can say no, and still offering your support to people if they are people that you do support, but not filling your day with appointments just to keep busy, just to seem like you're in this fast lane, when really, again, that might not be the most productive use of your time. Also, this idea too of rushing to make a decision. I always talk about making brave decisions, but I do think brave doesn't mean hurried. Brave doesn't mean hasty. Brave meaning thoughtful. Now, we're not saying stall on making a decision and think about it forever, but how do you make a decision in a reasonable amount of time where it doesn't feel like you're hurrying just to make a decision to say it's done, but you're not making it a decision that you procrastinate about making for however long? There's a balance, and you decide for yourself what that balance is. But being conscious, I think, of this idea of, did I just rush to make a decision just because I wanted it over? Or have you ever been in a situation where you rush to make a decision just to satisfy another person? And then you're going through life or through time or a certain period wondering if it was the right decision simply because you didn't take the time to really think about it. Another thing with making hasty decisions too is that it could cost money. Again, in my own example, when I first launched chicrebellion.tv, I invested a lot of money in getting the site up and doing the production, a lot of the things that I did, because I didn't do a lot of research ahead of time into ways that I could cut costs or keep costs low in doing the production and a lot of the things that I was doing. I was moving so fast because I had this goal that I wanted to accomplish. And there's a good part of that, having a goal, wanting to accomplish it, moving with a sense of urgency, but not haste. And I was really pushing so fast, not taking anything else really into consideration other than the goal. I wasn't looking at all of the other things that I could have done to support myself, really, in doing this in a way that was much more efficient, could have been much more productive, certainly could have been a lot less expensive. I didn't look for the resource. I didn't know to look for the resources because actually what I was going on was my past experience of working in media for so many years. The difference was there's a big difference in working for a media company, doing production, all of those things when there's other people's money, investment, and all of that involved, as opposed to funding things yourself and the way you have to consider with production, all of these other things. So that was a tough lesson, but a very valuable lesson. And it really speaks to this idea of moving so fast that you don't stop for a second, look around and look at what are the ways that I can do this that would be better for me, that would be of a better support to me and this goal that I want to achieve, because it is about going toward whatever goal that is. But what is the best way if I step out of the fast lane, stop moving fast just for the sake of moving fast, and really give this some thought? Another reason hasty decisions could be dangerous is because they can be unhealthy. There are times when, we've all made some decision out of haste and then ended up being really stressed about it or put ourselves in a bad situation or just something to compromise our health because, again, we're moving fast for the sake of moving fast. So that's another reason to really be aware of how fast you're moving and the decisions that you're making, how they affect you, especially your health. I know, with this whole idea of moving, which I've talked about before, moving from New York to Atlanta, it was a big decision for me. And it's also a health decision. Nothing is wrong, thank goodness. But when I think about peace of mind, what I want my life to be like right now, how this move will support me, I really made a thoughtful decision and feel good about it in making the move. Now, I have my fears and my hangups, which I've talked about, just leaving New York and going anywhere else, really. But honestly, getting out of the fast lane and giving myself space to really think about this and to make this move is a healthy decision for me right now. And for many of us, when we think about a move, whether it's a physical move or any other kind of move, again, not doing something just to make a quick decision, but really giving it some thought and thinking about what is healthiest for me right now. Another thing, too, with getting out of the fast lane is you give yourself some space to make decisions or to do the things that you want to do in a way that doesn't put the pressure of time on you. So whether that's launching your business, growing your business, doing a new project, whatever it is, if you're not rushing, hasty, again, there are times, there are deadlines, there are reasons that we have to press and move things perhaps a little bit faster. But when you're in the fast lane, just for the sake of being in the fast lane, it's not always the best move. You can put some space around whatever you're doing, really give it some thought, give yourself some space for some new ideas to come in. I know I do that when I have new projects or things I'm considering. Even, for example, when I considered launching this podcast, I had the idea. I was listening to a lot of podcasts, of course, at that time, hearing how people do their interviews and structure, and then started doing some more research on podcasts and the effectiveness of them and why people were drawn to them and what kind of things were out there and what I wanted to do. So I gave it some space to really grow and blossom. The idea, the seed was planted, and I was able to cultivate it because I wasn't rushing. It wasn't like plant the seed, wait for it to grow right then. It was plant the seed, think about it, give it some thought, but then give yourself a live line as opposed to a deadline. Give yourself a live date or a launch date of when you're going to make this thing happen. So I had a date when I wanted to launch, but in between that time, I gave it some space. I didn't rush and say, I'm going to do this by tomorrow and make this thing happen. I did not jump into that fast lane. And the last thing I'll end with is this. It's a quote actually from my friend Joanne, who is the founder of queenbee.club, which is a group for mommies and help mommies live their best lives. And she and I were talking, I can't remember even what the context was, but she said a great quote that her mom said to her. And it was, I was in a hurry, so I took my time. I just love that. I was in a hurry, so I took my time. And what I got from that was, for example, when you're trying to cook, have you ever tried to cook something really fast and then you end up burning it? I feel like that's what we do a lot of times when we're in a hurry. You're in a hurry, you try to do something really fast, and then you end up burning it, so to speak. So in my mind, Joanne's mom meant she was in a hurry so as not to mess things up, to get things done. She took her time, because often when we're in a hurry and we try to rush through things, we end up messing things up, burning it, and we end up needing more time than if we had taken our time and done that thing right and given ourselves some space. So, great quote from Joanne's mom. Remember, if you're in a hurry, take your time. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you guys. I love sharing these little short messages, moments, ideas with you. If you want to see previous episodes with other women entrepreneurs that I've interviewed, go to supportissexypodcast.com and check it out. Be sure to also check the free resources button so you can see what kind of things that I'm offering at this time. Right now, it is an audio training on brave decisions, a 3-part audio training that I'm very excited about. You can also subscribe to my email list there so you can know about new episodes and other things that are going on with the Support is Sexy community. Happy to stay connected to you all. Thank you so much for the feedback that you've given me. Keep it coming. I appreciate it. And be sure to take care of yourself and don't live life in the fast lane for the sake of just being in the fast lane. All right, so now you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.